It will be an amateur featherweight contest contested over three 3-minute rounds. And introducing first, out of the red corner, Kyle the Silent Johnson.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Coastal Combat number 6. Beautiful Coolum Sunshine Coast. Anton Zafir, welcome my friend. Fight 1 of the evening, Kyle Johnson, Rory Urquart. B-class amateur fight. Tell me what you expected in the first one here.
Well, to be honest, I'm glad I'm back. I love these Coastal Combats. Very exciting, change of venue. One last week change. I am super excited for this first fight. I'm expecting fireworks. I think we're going to start this show off with a bang. Kyle's fighting out of Caloundra, out of Tribal MMA.
Good gym, real good gym behind him.
And I think they've got quite a few fighters on tonight, actually, so this is just the first of a couple to come out.
They're a very active gym at the moment, and testament to the calibre of fighter that they're producing. Paul Birch, his son Connor, obviously somewhat of an amateur prodigy, one of the highest pedigreed amateur fighters in Australia right now. So did speak to Kyle earlier, very much likes to push the pace. He likes to test the cardio of his opponent. So look for him to be very active early on, engage in the striking contest, and see if this one does get in the second and third round, if he can exploit that weakness of his opponent.
Well, he considers himself a freestyle martial artist. So
what does that mean? As an experienced veteran of the sport, what does freestyle martial artist actually mean?
I'm going to hope that he means he's comfortable wherever this fight goes. That he's comfortable standing, he's comfortable wrestling, he's comfortable on the ground. Quite a bit of support here for him tonight. As we said, he's a local guy.
And introducing his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, Rory, the Vanilla Gorilla Urquart.
Rory Urquart making his way to the Coastal Combat cage. Definitely gets the nickname of the night award so far for me, Anton. The Vanilla Gorilla, very catchy.
It is, and he comes from a gym relatively close to where I actually train. Well, when I say close, up north, everything within 5 to 6 hours is close. But he trains out of Rhino Mixed Martial Arts under Chubbs. And again, there's a couple of these guys fighting tonight. And Chubbs is actually affiliated with Joel Sepasvari and their club here on the Sunshine Coast.
Rory, very much a strategic fighter. He will look to pick his shots, does have a big right hand, but won't necessarily uncork it willy-nilly. He'll look to set it up, use leg kicks, attack the body, get the guard of his opponent to drop, and uncork that big right, hopefully for a highlight reel knockout from his perspective.
And if it does go to the ground, Rory's actually quite comfortable playing off his back. He's not afraid to throw up submissions, keep you working from the top position so you never get quite settled.
He has utilised the guillotine to successful effect in previous fights, so we'll see if it does get to the ground whether he can execute that submission today.
Both boys are quite young too. Rory's only 17 years old. All right, so I think he's definitely one of the youngest on the card tonight. It'll be a good test to see if this is what he actually really enjoys doing.
Yeah, and whether he can handle the emotions that will come with competing at this sort of a level.
And Kyle's only young himself, only 22 years old. 22 years old, and as we know in MMA, that's still quite young.
That's a baby of the sport.
So, ladies and gentlemen, fight number 1 this evening, proudly brought to you by QSEC, is an amateur featherweight bout which will be contested over 3-minute rounds. And introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he weighed in at 65.8 kilos and trains out of Tribal MMA. Tonight he makes his second appearance in the cage. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kyle the Silent Johnson. And his opponent, Fighting out of the blue corner, he weighed in at 65.4 kilos and trains out of Rhino MMA, holding an undefeated amateur record of 1 win with 0 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Rory, the Vanilla Gorilla Urquart.
They
Well,
should
they
call
actually
him the
begin to
orangutan
referee in
with
charge, Phil
arm span
Cassidy.
like he does. He's definitely got the reach advantage in this fight.
Significant, absolutely. So the push kick, the front kick, kept the jab in the face.
Well, here we go, gentlemen. Phil Cassidy clapping us in. Fight 1 of the evening, and a fun one to start off with here. Both boys are making their second appearance as amateur MMA fighters, and of course Rhino taking on Tribal. As far as the gyms are concerned, tidy lead hook there lands for Rory Urquart.
Just saying that Rory's coming down to Kyle's height, where if he stood upright a little bit more, he'd have at least about half a head height advantage.
See if he can actually use that distance advantage to his advantage early in this fight. Keep the jab in his face, use those kicks to keep his opponent in the distance.
And worth noting, the Vanilla Gorilla here, Rory Urquart, the youngest fighter on the card tonight, 17 years of old, gentlemen, and already having his second amateur bout.
He's going to be a big fan when he goes back to school on Monday.
Yeah, it's funny, in the commentator questions that we send out to the fighters before this, nice exchange there. We always have a question in there, what do you do for a living? And for Rory Urquart, he's just written school.
I wonder if all his friends from school have tuned in to watch Rory have his very first fight.
And so the boys, just a bit of a feeling out process here. Interesting here, we do have the opposing stances as we see Rory Urquart in the orthodox position with Kyle Johnson.
Oh, big lead left hand landing.
So clipped him on the way in there, did the man from Tribal MMA.
Generally when they shake it off like that, it actually does hurt.
Yeah. Both boys have a very open guard. Their heads are very wide and low away from their face.
Yeah, good pick up there, Anton. We are seeing the floating hands on both sides of the ledger. And the stance switch momentarily there from Rory Urquart. Both boys looking really comfortable on the feet here, showing great composure. No one's rushing into anything too early here. We mentioned Rory at the age of 17. Well, Kyle not far in front of him. He's only 22. So two very young athletes sharing the cage here to kick off Coastal Combat 6. So with just under a minute to go here in this opening round, of course, Rory Urquart victorious in his debut back on at Battle at the Beach 7 to the unanimous decision win over Dylan Hawkins. And Kyle the Silent Johnson chasing his first win in the cage. Oh, big straight left lands there for Kyle Johnson.
Rory's been had the cage control. Kyle switched him off, and he's now pushing himself up against the cage. Feeding those body shots.
He's got to look for the wizard here, get some control, eating some body shots early.
I'd like to see maybe a break and start swinging.
There you go, on cue. Roy's got to be really careful when he switches to southpaw. Second time in that fight he switched to southpaw, ate a big right hand each time.
So neither boy showing too many nerves there through the opening round. Rory Urquart looks very comfortable in there for a 17-year-old on his second fight. Tight opening round there, gentlemen, but Kyle Johnson with that big shot towards the end might have stolen it as far as the judges are concerned.
I definitely would have lent to Kyle in that first round, leading those two straight lefts every time that Rory comes in. I think he comes in a little bit too open.
Yep.
I'd like to see those hands a little bit tighter. And as we said before, I'd like to see him use his reach a little bit more.
Yeah, no, good point there, Anton. Definitely seen some really nice timing in the left hand there of Kyle Johnson, cracking that big straight left a couple of times. So the corner's going to work here. Phil Cassidy now kicking him out. Tribal MMA looks like the father-son duo in the corner there, Paul Birch and Connor Birch, and the team from Rhino MMA headed by Nathan O'Connor, getting the work done in between rounds for the Vanilla Gorilla, Mr. Rory Urquart. So here we go. Phil Cassidy claps us in round 2, gentlemen.
Very unique head movement from Rory Urquhart as well, though. Never really provides a standing target, which is a very good strategy.
Yeah, touching on that point you brought up earlier, Anton, we are seeing really low as far as the head is concerned now for Rory. Does leave him vulnerable to some attacks up the middle. Oh, stumbles him there once again with that left hand. The timing on it is absolutely beautiful from Kyle Johnson.
And Rory keeps coming with that right hand low. I'd like to see Rory maybe try and take it to the ground and switch it up, see if he's got any more of an advantage on the ground.
So we've got to be careful throwing those naked low kicks when you have the opposite stances like that to the inside. Almost got counted there, did Kyle Johnson. Rory Urquart looking for the straight right down the middle.
Got to get Kyle's respect here, Rory. Rory's output has been minimal so far. It's allowing Kyle just to dance around him, use that low guard and pick a few shots to score some points on the judges' scorecards.
Cheeky little uppercut lands there on the side of Kyle Johnson.
I have to admit, Rory is doing a pretty good job keeping his front foot to the outside of Kyle, and as we know, when we have competing stances, that's a very important aspect to create those angles.
Yeah, really good point there, Anton. That lead foot dominance is something that the Vanilla Gorilla is showing. Like you mentioned, it just provides such a better pathway for the straight right down the middle. If you can keep that foot on the outside of your opponent's lead, but we see it look like the high kick there glancing off the glove.
Also allows him to circle away from the right hand, which is generally the power hand of the southpaw as well. Oh, the left hand, sorry, which is generally the power hand.
Oh, nice double jab, straight right.
Well, Kyle Johnson looks like some cobwebs there. Big shot landed, perhaps the best so far for Rory Urquart in this fight. Under a minute now remaining. The high kick there from Kyle Johnson blocked.
And as you're saying, they're throwing a lot of one-off kicks. It would be a lot nicer if they would set them up with their hands or throw the kicks and then finish with their hands to give their opponent something more to think about.
Particularly on the side of Kyle Johnson, we are seeing a lot of head movement from Rory Urquart. So if you can catch him slipping to the outside of one of those punches and the high kick shortly following, it can quite often be a lethal combo. So 30 seconds to go in this one. Pretty tight round so far, this one. It'll be interesting to see if any of the boys can leave some sort of lasting impression in the eyes of the judges.
It's there to win right now, realistically, with 20-odd seconds to go. A couple of big strikes and could definitely sway the judges.
So stuffed shot there from Rory Urquart. Now Kyle Johnson pushing against the fence.
Good knees by Rory, though. Got some good knees to the body.
Looks like he's reaching for a leg here.
Tight round, very, very tight second round.
I'm definitely glad I'm a commentator and not a judge in this fight.
Yes, very close round. Both boys looking super fresh. We will see the third round here in the first fight of the evening. So, of course, to everyone joining us online, good evening and welcome. Coastal Combat 6 officially underway. My name's Daniel Maudsley, joined in the booth with UFC veteran Anton Zafir and veteran of Australian martial arts commentary Josh Warner. Gentlemen, great night of fights ahead of us here, and the first fight of the night delivering as expected.
Yes, I can't say much more to that. I'm super excited for tonight, and these guys have definitely started off the night on the right foot, that's for sure. Both boys coming out very tentative, feeling each other out. Basically, it's whoever goes first and whoever goes tightest seems to be landing at the moment.
I think it'll open up, though. You could, argue it's potentially one round each if Rory to snag that second round with that late flurry of knees. So everything on the line to win right now. So hopefully the boys just relax a little bit, let go of some of those punches. Evan, you said, Anton, maybe try to shoot, get a takedown, something to diversify their approach.
And here we go. The boys touch gloves to kick us off in the third and final round. And, well, look at that. On cue there, Josh Warner. Straight in for the takedown was Rory Urquart, but didn't really penetrate on the hips, so stuffed by Kyle Johnson.
Back against the cage. I like those knees by Rory, though. Good left knees into the guts.
Oh, single leg attempt into a trip there from Rory Urquart. So very interesting. For the first time in this fight, we see the two boys on the mat.
Open guard too by Kyle, so he could slip his right leg out here, Rory, move into side control, start to rain down some of those punches.
Yeah, looks like a bit of a Z-guard on the bottom there from Kyle Johnson at the moment. Let's see if if Rory can look to pass.
I don't think he needed to. I think Kyle will let it go to try and hook up the guillotine. But as you know, it's very hard to sink in a guillotine from a half guard position. He's trying. He's being very aggressive off his back. He's going for a submission to submission, looking for a sweep.
Oh, beautiful work from the 17-year-old. Look at this, the Vanilla Gorilla. Difficult to see where that hand is. It doesn't look like it's under the chin just yet, but what a start to round 3 here for Rory Urquart.
And lots of time to work. Lots of time to work. 1:40 on the clock. Soften him up with some body punches. Manipulate the hand position of his opponent. Try and get that arm under the chin.
Well, 90 seconds still to go, so plenty of time left here for Rory Urquart to try and secure a 3rd round finish. Looks like he's creeping that hand slowly around the neck of Kyle Johnson. Let's see if he'll commit to a grip here.
Oh, he's set himself. He's tried to sing himself up against the cage, try and get him off his back. But Rory's doing a very good job keeping that right hand tight under his neck and just threatening him constantly.
So here we go. It looks like that arm is getting dangerously close. And hands are connected now. Let's see if Rory Urquhart can squeeze the tap here in the first fight of the night. Going to palm up, palm down momentarily, but all heart shown here by Kyle Johnson. And squeezing again. This is starting to look tight, gents, but wow.
Kyle's doing a very good job sneaking his hand into that grip just to make sure that there's a little bit of pressure and he's not allowing him to sink those hands together.
Stretching him out now, using those long limbs though again to manipulate the body position.
Got a nice little body triangle there.
Kyle's chin though strategically is ducked right down, so Rory just can't get his right arm slip under there to engage the choke.
Well, 20 seconds to go here, boys. And a big 3rd round.
Well, that's right. Regardless of the submission actually finishing the fight, this is a huge points round for Rory Urquhart.
10 seconds to go. I think Kyle will make the end of the round. That's kind of back of the head.
And there we go. We go to the scorecards for the first fight of the night, gentlemen. Well, I think it comes down to how they scored that 2nd round. Quite clearly, one apiece either side of that. And I'm not brave enough to make a call.
Anton?
If I was going to say anybody, I'd have to say Rory.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Rory clinched it with that nice double jab straight right, and then finished up with the knees at the end, which I said would have edged it to him, and then
it'll be painfully close, but I tend to agree. I think Rory did enough in the second. Again, using a diverse range of strikes. The jab was good, the knees were very good, and clearly in the 3rd round dominated. Spent more than 2/3 of the round trying to sink in the rear naked choke. So very tough for the judges, but from this position, we think Rory may just get the chocolates in the first fight of the evening here at Coastal Combat 6.
So ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. All 3 judges score the bouts 29-28 for your winner by unanimous decision. In the blue corner, Rory, the Vanilla Gorilla Urquhart. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with our winner from fight number 1. Rory Urquart gets the job done there by unanimous decision. Rory, pretty close fight there. Dominant round in the first for the other side, and you took that third with a lot of authority. So it all came down to how the judges saw that second round. What were you thinking going to the scorecards?
I thought I had it. Yeah, I thought that takedown and the rear naked choke attempts definitely gave it to my side.
Well, the judges agreed with you there, mate. Worth noting, 2-0 now at only 17 years of age, so still in your teens. I think the one question that a lot of us have on our lips is, what's it going to be like going back to school on Monday?
I ain't going back to school on Monday. I'm eating a bunch of shit food. No, going back to school is going to be pretty sick. Going to have a lot of alpha energy. You know, it's going to be pretty good.
Well, 2-0. Congratulations, young man. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your winner, Rory, the Vanilla Gorilla Urquart.